And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today I'm taking a look at a game called Monster Extermination. I have the full printout of English rules, so this is from Korea. It's from GameSapiens.com, and this is one of those games that they made. They made a lot of these little ones that come in these tins that slide out of the casing like this, and then, yeah, I'm not a big fan of tins, but these work, these little card games. These card games have been all over the board. They've had a trick-taking one. Well, this one is just a very simple collection-style game. Let's take a look. Monster Extermination comes with two decks of cards. First, we have a deck of weapon cards. This deck is made up of 6 different weapons. We have the Cross of Light, the Talisman of Will, the Incessant Torch, the Crossbow of Destruction, the Magic Silver Sword, and the Spear of Annihilation. I think I've seen all these in when I played Wolfenstein. But anyhow, these are the different weapons. There's also all sorts of monsters. We have a werewolf, and we have a ghast, and we have a mimic. Each monster shows at the bottom what weapons can defeat it. So for example, the mimic here can be defeated by the Crossbow of Destruction, by the Cross of Light, and by the Talisman of Will. If the Talisman of Will is used to kill it, it's worth 4 points. If the Cross of Light, only 2 points. This number up here in the top doesn't really mean anything. It's just to keep track. You're looking for sets of monsters, so each set has monsters of the same color and number. So for example, this mummy here is part of the yellow set, or set 2. The mummy, the skeleton, and the vampire. There's 3 cards in each set. Now in the standard game, you'll shuffle the 2 decks and then you'll place 3 monsters face up in the area. Now when it's your turn, you can capture as many monsters as you want. You'll have some weapons in your hand. You'll start with 2. So let's say, for example, I have the Spear of Annihilation. I'm like, aha! I conquered the ogre. I put both those cards together so I remember which weapon I killed the ogre with. And I say, oh, the Magical Silver Sword, I'll kill the Spectre too while I'm at it. After I do that, I'll replace these 2, and it's the next person's turn, and I draw 1 weapon card into my hand. I can also pass and draw 1 weapon card, not taking any monsters in the middle out at all. You can only have a maximum of 5 weapon cards in your hands, but you can play as many as you want, so you could capture all 3 monsters, 2, 1, or none. This will continue until there's no more monsters replaced in the middle. Mudman, Slime, and Werebear, and Golem, and Flash Flower, and Giant Spider. All these monsters are captured. People have run out of weapons and monster cards. At that point, you will count your points up. Like let's see, the Rhino here. I've killed it. Let's say I've killed it with the Magical Silver Sword. It's worth 3 points. And so I add up all these points, and then for each complete set of monsters I've gotten, let's say I did get the mummy, the skeleton, and the vampire, that's a bonus 7 points for each set. Cards left over in your hand don't count. Most points is the winner. Now this is the standard game. In the casual game, I know, that seemed pretty casual right there. You mix all the cards together, and then you can put out a mixture of cards in the middle of the table. So in the middle of the table there will be maybe a magic sword, a mummy, a rhino, and a cockatrice. And in my hand I have these cards here, and I can match them up any way I want. I can say, oh, you know, the Spear of Annihilation gets rid of the rhino, and the Spectre is killed by the Magic Silver Sword. Basically, instead of having 2 decks, you have 1 deck. The first thing I gotta say here is phenomenal artwork. This is some of my favorite artwork I have ever seen in a game. I love it. I love the quality of the cards. It's so easy to tell what's going on. That's great. But the game itself, while fun, is really, really light. Sure, there's some aspects of, okay, do I want to capture this card just to capture a card, or do I want to save some cards and try to capture something that's worth more points? Should I capture this character with more points, or should I try to complete a set, which gives me points at the end of the game? And, Which ones have I captured already? That you'll run into a lot. There's a bit of a memory as the game progresses. It works pretty well two-player. The whole basic game where you combine decks, that's crazy. Just play the regular standard game where there's a weapons deck and a monsters deck, and it comes together pretty well. I enjoyed this on a very light, casual level, and if I had some time to burn and you said let's play it, I'd say okay. But I would go in fully expecting that anybody could win, because I might want to capture the third card of my set and I just am not drawing a weapon that allows me to do that. I may want to capture a third card of a set, but I just can't remember which ones I've had so far. Or it came up on your turn and you snagged it. So it's neat, it's cool. I would say it's more for kids than anything else. It looks great, and I hope that this artist does more work for games, because they are wonderful. But if you get this, realize super light, probably best for kids.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the doors!